Once upon a time, there was a myth, and the myth was the story of creation. Now, a myth is not just a fantasy or a legend. A myth is a story which carries a deep meaning. I don't know if the story is true. I don't know if the story isn't true, but I know that the message within it is true. And in this myth of creation, the Elohim, God, and it's a feminine noun, by the way, with a masculine plural ending, not a masculine God creating the universe according to the book of Genesis. The Elohim saw that it was good. And then she saw that it was very good. And then she combined with Yahweh to create humanity. And Yahweh Elohim told humanity not to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And guess what? We did. Because any parent knows that if you tell a child not to do something, don't do that, whatever you do, don't do that, don't do that. Now I'm just going to leave the room for 5 minutes, but don't do that. As soon as you leave the room, you know what they're going to do. They're going to go and look at exactly the thing that you told them not to do. And you think God didn't know that? So we move on to this concept of original sin, which has been taught through Christianity for 2,000 years. Well, not quite 2,000 years. Original sin was originated by St. Augustine in the 4th century. Up till then, there was the idea that humanity disobeyed God in the Garden of Eden and had to leave the garden because of that. And we assumed that was a bad thing. But then St. Augustine came up with this idea that we had been so bad that God had to send Jesus to die to save us. And then St. Anselm in the 13th century added to that with penal substitution theory, which was the idea that no sacrifice a human could ever make would be big enough or good enough to atone for our sin in the Garden of Eden. So God would have to send his own son and kill his own son to expiate our sin. That is not a loving God. That is not a God you can be confident about, a benevolent God. Now, I'm a Franciscan, and the Franciscans have never actually believed in original sin. We believe in original blessing. And this workshop is all about how the Franciscan view can change everything in our lives, to understand that the Garden of Eden story was a necessary process for humanity, and there's no such thing as original sin. We are not all tarred with the brush of immediate disobedience. How do we know that? Well, let's start with the fact that Jesus was a Jew. Jews have no concept of original sin. It is not in any of their teachings or any of their doctrines. So if Jesus didn't come to save us from original sin, why did he come? And that's what this is all about. And I promise you, it's original blessing. It's magical, it's mysterious, it's beautiful, it's loving, and it will help you to believe in a benevolent God.